Hey, Dr. Brett here. I'm with my assistant and friend, Ryan Davi. He is a master's level psychotherapist and a tennis pro. So it's a nice combination. How does it two combine? How do you combine tennis pro and psychotherapist?
That's a good question. I went to school to study psychology, study human behavior. It's always been a passion of mine. I've been a tennis instructor for the past 5 or 6 seasons. I played in high school, and teaching became, another passion of mine. And, to combine the fields, if you're someone's therapist or if you're someone's coach, either way you're still helping them to reach a goal, we'll say,
and sometimes it's not that far apart, is it? Being a therapist coach, although I think your average football coach would reject the notion of being a therapist.
Sure.
They would.
I'm not going to call it the average, football coach.
But there is an element of, right? But there is a pretty cool element of, being a really good listener, right? And being a really good observer, right? Because when you're paying attention to athletes, you're really listening and observing, and then you're helping them tweak their game.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times the game is mental, not physical, right? It's like, even though you're teaching tennis and that there's a lot of physical instruction, I would imagine you're still doing a fair amount of mental instruction. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And especially at a higher level, to perform at a higher level, you really need to have the mindset improved. And that's something that's still new to me, that I've been learning from you this summer.
Well, one of the things I teach people to do is focus like a MF. I don't want to swear right now, but we know what that means. Mm-hmm. Really, really learn how to focus hard. In golf, it's literally 20 seconds, whatever that pre-shot routine is, 20 seconds, 70 times, or 80 times, or 90 times, depending on how good you are, and then being able to let go in between. Mm-hmm. If you're a field goal kicker, it's literally just the routine of getting on the field, then going through your little routine before you kick the ball, and so that whole process is maybe 3 or 4 minutes or something, right? So, but being able to hyper focus when you want to and need to is an amazing quality. And one of the things I teach a lot of is utilizing the breath to calm down, to relax. What do you teach besides the breath?
Sure.
He wasn't prepared for that question right there.
This is so new to me for my clients.
We're doing it in the moment. No preparation. It's the best way.
I teach a lot of positive outlook, with my clients, and just try to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And also prepare. I tell them, I played tennis tournaments where I went to a party the night before and I had a hangover.
Totally.
Like you couldn't imagine it. And how did I perform that tournament? Probably
not as well.
Not on my peak.
No genius here. But clearly though, if you're paying attention to your
take care of your instrument.
Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, right? It's all combined. Mm-hmm. So when athletes tend to put it together, they've got all 4 areas going really well. The physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And combining those areas is something that I work on. Yeah. I work primarily on the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, right? Mm-hmm. And most people are, pretty fit when they're working with me, right? So you're working on a little bit of both, I would imagine, right? Because sometimes people's conditioning in tennis isn't as good as it could be.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you do? What do you tell people when they need to get in better physical shape? What do you do there?
I kind of tell a little bit of a story of what I've gone through. I was relatively healthy as a child and adolescent. Then I reached that 13, 14-year-old stage where I put on some weight.
Gotcha.
In high school, I was 220 pounds as a senior, and I got down to 160.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
At age 21, and I kept off 50 or 60 pounds for half a decade, and that's been my biggest accomplishment. So I tell my clients now, losing weight was probably the easiest thing I did, but I just had to change my mindset and believe that I could do it.
I love it.
I still remember the day I was sitting at home at my parents' house, age 20, 21, first semester of college, looked down on my stomach, and it wasn't too pleasing. And I just woke up the next day and I said, I'm going to eat a little less today. I'm going to weigh myself today.
Nice.
So I had my mom's, wall calendar, Victorian pictures, whatever on it, and wrote down my weight, 221.5, whatever. The next day I said, I'm gonna eat really well today. I'm gonna drink a lot of water. I'm gonna stay hydrated. I'm gonna make a little bit of a change. And I lost half a pound that day, and a pound or 2 that week, and I kept building and building. But I tell my clients that are trying to play tennis and improve their life is it all starts with health. If you wake up and you didn't get enough sleep, you didn't have a good breakfast, you're not, giving your body what it needs, you're not going to perform.
No, definitely not. But it's interesting when he talks about, though, about mindset, right? so much of success in life, in business, in sports, in relationships is related to our mindset. If we have the right attitude, we tend to perform better because we're going to do more to prepare, right? We're going to get ourselves in a better place if we have the right attitude, and we're going to stay in a better place if we have the right attitude. So again, a lot of what I'm doing is in that sort of mental, emotional realm. I'm helping kids, sometimes young kids, when they have a crummy attitude, like everybody knows it. And sometimes kids have a crummy attitude because they just are too hard on themselves. I think that's pretty common. Most of us on some level are really hard on ourselves, but if we get too hard on ourselves, that's no good. Right? And so I'm sure that's probably also what you're doing as well, right? Helping people realize you got to learn constantly, but you don't want to, there's not a lot of value in beating yourself up after 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 8 seconds.
We are humans.
Right? After we learn,
we make mistakes,
all the time, right?
On and off the court. On and off the field.
But it's about the learning, right? The constant attitude of growing, improving, and moving forward in your life, and helping, and also recognizing that you don't ever need to be stuck. And most people don't realize that. They feel they get into ruts in life and they get stuck. I've been there. Most of us have been there. But that's part of the reason why you reach out to a life coach or a sports psychologist or therapist type, right? Is you want to get out of a rut. Some people wait way too long to reach out for help, especially males, right? In general, we're not programmed that way. What are your thoughts about what I'm sharing?
I agree 100% with it. Especially males are more resistant to change and treatment, as they say. We try to do everything on our own, and we don't have to talk to someone about it, but we all do. And also for men, look, I mean, and it's not that dissimilar with women. Most people have a hard time expressing themselves and being in touch with their emotions, but sometimes it's even harder as a male because we are still programmed, even in 2020 or wherever we're approaching now, 2018, we're still programmed to be tough and not that vulnerable, right? It's hard to be vulnerable as males because, you still feel that pull to be tough. And one of the things that I teach in terms of self-expression is it actually is tough to be vulnerable. Because most people aren't vulnerable, and in relationships, if you want to have successful relationships, you got to figure out a way to be vulnerable, to actually express your feelings and tell the truth. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that, and that's part of the reason they struggle with intimacy. Awesome, good stuff. Hey, I'm Dr. Brett, and I'm here with Ryan Davi. Thanks so much for joining us. Pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.